the associated fake death of Michael Jackson, or maybe I've gone too far.
We miss you, Mike.
Steven misses you, Mike. He wants you to make that known. I particularly have no, I really don't miss you.
No affiliation to Mike?
No affiliation to Mike. And, you know, but some sports going on. Good sports in the city. Seems that the Knicks are back inside the playoff race and can't catch a break. Atlanta is doing their
fire.
Thing. On fire. It seems they've beaten the Bobcats, who I didn't think they actually had a chance against. Bobcats at home, playing so well. So,
who would think Atlanta would be playing so well this late in the season?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Controlling that playoff spot.
That's
kind of disappointing.
Critical spot in the playoffs, which for Knicks fans it's very disappointing. And you know, Steve is a huge Knicks fan, and today we actually have a couple of questions that friends of ours, friends of Steven's, if we dare to call them that, do some questions together.
Maybe associates.
They're inside of this hat. So I think I get things started with, I'll read Steve a question. And the first question says something like this. Who, my dear friend, in the NBA deserves Coach of the Year?
Wow. So, you got a couple good guys out there who are having years that you wouldn't have anticipated them having. I think first we're going to go down to Houston. My friend here thinks Houston is soft, but at the end of the day, Kevin McHale has them playing some good basketball. The team's gelled in its first year together. The one deficiency is the fact that they don't have a true ball distributor, but they use Jeremy Lin and Patrick Beverly well together, and they make it work. They have a lot of different pieces, but Kevin McHale just has them playing well, and Dwight Howard is definitely come along faster than I would have anticipated.
Right.
Him playing in Houston.
Right.
So I have to say Kevin McHale. Also, Scotty Brooks has had a significant year.
Right.
With
I like Scotty Brooks.
You know,
so
Russell Westbrook's been out.
You're going McHale.
As one of my candidates, I'd say I'm gonna go with Kevin McHale this year.
All right.
We're gonna think outside the box.
I would, and you know, I like the pick. I mean, McHale he does have a bunch of lackluster guys who hasn't played that often together, playing really well. But I mean, if I had to choose, which I am, seeing how you guys are providing the questions, I would say Tom Thibodeau would get the nod for me. He's done an amazing job. It's like he plugs in players, and you know, he gets guys to do what they're supposed to do.
He actually could be Coach of the Year every year. Every single year since he's been in Chicago.
And I mean, not to mention last season he didn't have D Rose, nor has he had him this season. The trade with Dang, he's lost Bellinelli, who's huge out in San Antonio. So he's doing a great job. So I would say Thibs at this point, guys. Would you like to choose? Maybe Steve have a question.
Seems like Thibs always overachieves for some reason.
Yeah, you know, he has that thing about him. Personality, that it thing about him that I like so much.
Oh, we got to it. Oh no, this is one. All right. Are the Brooklyn Nets a legitimate spoiler in the Eastern Conference?
Oh, I'm
gonna let you take that one first.
I like the question. I wish I would have written down who it is that asked the question, but I would have to say the Nets are a legitimate spoiler in the Eastern Conference. I mean, I see their team being at a place right now where I kind of thought it would be this time of year. Beginning of the season, not so great, but the way they're coming on, you know, you have vets in Paul Pierce who's been there. You also have a vet in Kevin Garnett, very tough. Joe Johnson, when he decides to play basketball, one of the best basketballs, and of course, you know, you're getting premier guard in Deron Williams when it comes to the point guard position. So their bench is pretty sold up. I believe so. I believe they could actually extend the 7-game series between either the Heat or Indiana.
Actually, I beg to differ. The main issue I have with Brooklyn is they don't score the ball enough. And come playoff time, although we know defense wins championships, yada, 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 you know, that old cliche, we hear it all the time.
We do. Defense wins championships.
But what wins games? Who has more points at the end of the game?
Very true.
And who's going to, down the stretch, okay, Paul Pierce is a little older. I think he strikes fear in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
But if the Nets end up playing Indiana, or even if they do play Miami, fear's only gonna go but so far with the way LeBron's playing now. And LeBron has to know that he can't be scared of Paul Pierce. And who else are they gonna turn to? You said Deron Williams. The guy's hurt all the time. When's the last time he's played significant in the postseason?
Yeah,
I was there last year,
barring a non-injured Deron Williams.
Listen, I was there last year when Chicago came into Brooklyn and won a Game 7 on the road.
Yes,
I was in the building.
Although last year's Brooklyn team to me had a better record, I actually think they definitely have the
97 points per game.
So,
giving up more points on defense than they scoring.
Yeah.
At this stage.
They are. I do think they're a legitimate spoiler though. Paul Pierce is that lethal to me. I do fear the Pierce.
The East is soft.
Anyway, very soft. Moving on. Favorite team coming out of the Western Conference.
That's a tough one. As of right now, I'd have to go with the overall consensus and the city which the league MVP favorite is residing in, which is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Don't get me wrong, San Antonio is always a threat, but I feel at this stage, for San Antonio to really come out of the West, things are gonna have to roll in their direction. It's gonna take a little bit of luck, maybe a injury here or there, maybe a good matchup in the first round. But overall, if Russell Westbrook is healthy and he gets implemented back into the lineup with fluidity, the way Oklahoma City is used to playing basketball, then truthfully, I don't see anyone beating them out west. Houston may be a surprise, and the reason being is because they have a guard big man combination.
I like Houston. Very soft to me. I think they are what Dwight Howard is, which is very playful, never really wanting to attack, and that's me in Houston. But I do like Houston, but I do think at the end of the day, physicality will eliminate them. And Portland, I love, scores the ball at a high clip, the defense is absent, and if it is two teams that I really put stock into, it would be one OKC, which Steven referenced to, and secondly San Antonio. And I'm going to go with Pop on this one. I think he has just enough juice in the tank. I think his guys, I think the emergence of Patty Mills, man. I do see somewhat of a decline with Parker, albeit not that much. I do think the emergence of Patty Mills and guys like Thiago Splitter who chimes in. I believe they do have the best bench out of those teams too. So San Antonio, and I think we have time for one more, so I'm gonna let.
You really think the old guys are the favorites to come out of the West?
Yeah, I'm gonna take San An coming out of the West yet again. Every time I want to throw that last dirt on their casket.
Let me ask you a question: Does home court advantage matter in the Western Conference Finals if San Antonio meets the Thunder?
Yeah, I would.
Home court advantage doesn't matter, in my opinion.
To me, it would matter. OKC is a volatile place to play.
This is an interesting one. I don't know if there's a real answer for this question.
Which is?
What is the demise for the Indiana Pacers' recent decline? Austin Charlton came up with this question, by the way. Thank you, Austin.
Thank you, Austin.
Thank you very much, Austin.
I would assume the demise is coming from what we will call scouting reports, or what I will call scouting reports, and teams being able to, thanks a lot, I needed that. I was shaking out the cobwebs. Teams being able to, adjust to what they see, what Paul George's best assets are and what Lance Stephenson's best assets are. And teams are starting to realize these guys play big. So if you could get out and run against these guys, you stand a fair chance. Running is the name of the game against Indiana. So I think lately teams have been exploiting that, running back and forth